Hello and welcome to the Nave Arcade podcast, a little show that explores tarot, astrology, human design, and other types of esoterica and wellness modalities. I am your host Maria, and in today's episode I want to talk about the partial lunar eclipse in Pisces that happened on September 17th at 7:34 p.m. Pacific time. And I am recording this during the eclipse, so there's that. But the message I want to share is very simple, and that is, you have all the magic you need within you. There's a lot of noise and a lot of overstimulation, and this full moon is a reminder to get back to ourselves and the things that we want. She wants us to remember who we are and what we love. She wants us to listen to our intuition. If you think of the ocean and the waves and being out there, it can be so loud, but it is a different kind of noise than what we encounter out in the world, out with other people. Even if you're not an ocean person or even a nature person, think about those moments when you feel a sense of silence that's not claustrophobic, when you feel a calm clarity that makes you turn inward. So if you can think of those times, that's the eclipse energy that I'm getting. And what is coming up for you? What has been so loud and so obvious that your intuition just says, hey, pay attention to me? Because we hone our intuitions by paying attention to ourselves. And sometimes those messages are subtle and sometimes they are very, very inescapable. And eclipses reveal truths. They uncover stuff. They unravel mysteries and they break apart systems that have become too stagnant. You know, an eclipse really obscures what is normal. It changes what's normally happening. So if there is something that's been popping up for you and it's continuing to show up as a distraction or a challenge or just something that is shaking your attention, you have to acknowledge it. And these kinds of disruptions aren't necessarily bad. They are simply disruptions. And disruption is probably not the best word because I think of like the tech bros that are so adamant about disrupting the industry. And they rarely disrupt it in ways that are beneficial to a majority of people, but they sometimes do, like rideshares. Rideshares can be very useful. But back to the eclipse in your own life, what has been needing to be shooken up? Where in your life have your dreams and your hopes and your desires become so loud that you can't ignore them anymore? Because Pisces is all about dreams. It is the sign of the nostalgic dreamer. But beyond that, it is a Jupiter-ruled sign, and Jupiter-ruled signs are desirous. Like Sagittarius, it has a sense of like greediness, and not in a corporeal or tangible, like not in a monetary way, and not even in an amorous way, although, you know, Jupiter is who he is. And sometimes that happens, but at the heart of it, Pisces and Sagittarius know in their bones, at their core, in their marrow, that there is so much out there in the world, and it is so vast, and there's so much we don't know, and it wants to know. Both of these signs, that energy of Jupiter, it wants to know, it wants to experience everything that life has to offer. And so this lunar eclipse wants us to tap into that belief. It wants us to remember and to really believe that the world and all of its wonders are in the same world that we live in. And this eclipse is happening on the axis of Pisces and Virgo, and it will be happening for the year ahead. But this specific axis is known as the axis of healing, and it is the axis of healing the spiritual and the emotional realms versus, you know, the physical, the tangible, the bodily realms. And so we are kind of being asked to balance our dreams and the context in which we are trying to bring them forth. So if Pisces loves to dream and Virgo likes to fix things and nitpick, I invite you to consider whether or not Virgo's attention to detail can actually be used to make our most lofty goals possible. Because I think for a lot of us, especially when it comes to things we dream about, our hopes, the things that we want in life, it is so easy to be deterred when somebody offers like a corrective suggestion, because it feels like they're telling us you're doing things wrong. And sometimes they are, sometimes they lack some tact. But sometimes they could just be telling us to ensure that we are doing things more foolproof. Sometimes they tell us things so that we don't slip up. Sometimes they tell us these things so that we can be successful. And where Pisces lies in your chart will give you the most clarity on the area of your life where your dreams and your imagination really need to be acknowledged. So just to use myself as a teaching example, this eclipse is happening on my natal moon by house, not by degree. And the house that it's in is the 10th house. And the 10th house is about career and legacy and public image. And I think if you were to look at all the stuff I've been doing on the various platforms, like I have been trying to get out there. I have been trying to make a name for myself. I have been trying to make work that will exist outside of myself and will serve other people beyond myself. And that being said, it has also been the source of my frustrations, because if we are talking about our dreams and our desires and our hopes, I have kind of failed. I'm not getting what I want, and I have not been meeting the standards that I'm putting out for myself and that I envision for myself and what I'm capable of, and I have been wallowing. And this week has been incredibly difficult, and that's partially why this episode is so late. But I share all of this because I'm trying to own that shadow side, doing the shadow work, but also to admit and acknowledge that I want it. I really do. I really believe that I could do something good, and I want to do something good. And it's been frustrating because I want to reach a level of pride and success and accomplishment with the work that I do, with the work that I do for people, and how I'm being seen and how it feels to be seen and witnessed. And if I didn't crave all of that so much, I wouldn't be so upset and I wouldn't be so sad. So, this is not, I'm trying not to make this a pity party. I'm just trying to say, this is the eclipse reminding me that, the stuff I want is still very much a part of who I am right now. And, this is personally affecting me because it's on my natal moon, which is squaring my sun, and my rising sign is also immutable. So, the mutable signs of Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Virgo, those are the ones that are most affected, either by opposition or by square, especially if they're in the last 10 degrees of those signs. So back to the griping, I want change. I want that disruption in how I've been operating and how I've been doing things, because whatever I've been putting out is not working. And an eclipse brings a shift. And in the spirit of Jupiter, I do believe that those shifts are good, that they can be good, that I can work with them. And that's not to say that change isn't scary, but it is the idea of is the discomfort of the status quo more or less bearable than the discomfort of doing something new? And of course, it's not about letting these things just happen. We have to make changes ourselves. We have to take actions. I have to take actions. And I have big content changes that I'm planning. I kind of want to pivot a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to. I'm going to build on it. But this morning I unlisted a bunch of shorts on YouTube because I don't think they've been helping me. I don't think the algorithm liked those. And I'm going to do my best to make more evergreen content because that is more searchable than the super event-based stuff like the full moon readings. I can still do those, but that's not what people are searching. But enough about my business plans. I just wanted to reiterate that I'm choosing to lean into that sense of desire and hope. And I did pull a card for this episode. It is an oracle card, and the theme on this card is self-expression, as well as imagine/allow. And the image on it is a woman with a torch in the dark. So with that visual in mind, my question to you is, what flames have you been keeping alive? What flames have persisted, even if you haven't been tending to them? What spark has been impossible for you to snuff out? And what desires do you have for yourself and your future for the year ahead? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year? And are you allowing yourself to fully imagine the greatest, most beautiful, most beneficial future that you could have for yourself? Because I don't want you to dim your own light. If there are challenges, It's just a matter of brainstorming and finding solutions. And some of those solutions might be more accessible than others, but we can work together to help each other find those things. Because the desires you have and the feelings that you are craving are not wrong, and they are not to be villainized. Please don't villainize those things for yourself, because there is nothing bad about wanting good and great things. Unless, of course, you want to exploit people and be awful. But wanting to feel safe and accepted, wanting to thrive financially, wanting to be successful, and wanting to be happy with people that you love and that love you back, those are things that you do not need to negotiate to a lower rate. Because remember, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter doesn't settle. So don't settle when it comes to your desires. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sending it to a friend who you feel might benefit from the message. And if you'd like a personalized reading, my books are open and the link will be in the show notes. If you've been enjoying the show overall, please consider rating and reviewing. It helps out a ton. Thank you for listening. Until next time.